Hellmaster EX. This award-winning system features the first single-engine joystick with digital electric steering and new autopilot capability. See Hellmaster EX in action at a Yamaha Outboard dealer or visit YamahaOutboards.com.
Dave Anderson here with the Fisherman magazine. It's December 12th. These are your headlines. Certainly been a tumultuous week with all the striped bass debates going on, but let's get back to the fishing. Speaking of striped bass, we do have good reports coming out of the Housatonic River this week. Also, seeing the tog moving a little bit deeper in Rhode Island and mixing more with other bottom species, but the fishing's still good there. And I've seen a good jerkbait bite for largemouth bass this week. Stay tuned for all that and more on this week's New England Fishing Forecast.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Now, until December 31st, Tsunami is giving away a Salt X waterproof backpack when you purchase a new Salt X2 reel. With its 19 seals and machined aluminum frame, the rugged Salt X2 can conquer any fishing condition you may face. Check out the QR code for all the details.
Before we begin, we've got a few news items for you guys. The first one actually comes to us from up around the Wachusett Reservoir, and the state of Massachusetts has been planning for the better part of a year to take down the dam on the Quinnipoxet River. Now, dam removals are, generally heralded as a great thing for angling and for nature and really for all things. And this one would definitely qualify. In this case, though, it is especially good for the fishing because it's going to open up, I think it was 35 miles of river for spawning. So you're going to have brook trout that are sort of genetically isolated in the lower part of that river and going out into Wachusett itself. And it's going to open up that same spawning habitat for the landlocked salmon, which, we've talked about this a lot in this report that I used to fish Wachusett pretty religiously. And in all that time, I only caught one landlocked salmon. I'm not sure if it was my methods or if they are just that scarce, but even other friends of mine that fished there, it was just a small handful of fish that was landed. Now we're going back 20 years and maybe they've seen a big boom in population, I don't know, but in either case more spawning habitat can only mean good things. So I think any Central Mass fishermen that watch this report should be excited about the prospects that are opened up by the Quinnipoxet River Dam coming down. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. Next, let's check in with Jenny Ackerman. Here's her latest installment of Open Boat. This is a little bit of holiday cheer from Jenny. Here she is.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Open Boat. It's the season of giving, and I just wanted to first wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And I just wanted to share some insight, since it's a season of giving, on giving back to the community. There's a lot of different ways you can give back to specifically the fishing community, and I'm going to give you some examples of how to do so. First off, you can go through all of your plugs, your old tackle, like the fall run shut down for the season when you're getting yourself all packed away, put your waders in the garage, they're out of your truck, blah, 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 blah. But you can go through your stuff, like your plugs, etc., old reels, old rods you don't use anymore, and you can reach out to like your local tackle shops or your fishing clubs and say, hey, I want to donate my old stuff, give to the kids. Think about the kids this holiday season. There's a lot of kids getting into fishing and they don't have like a lot of money or resources to get the tools they need to get on fish. So that one plug donation could make a kid's life and they could catch fish on it the next season come around, and it could make them hooked on fishing for life. So that's one way to consider. And going back to like your local tackle shops and fishing clubs, a lot of them do different like toy drives or fundraisers. You can go in and donate money or donate toys, or like I said, donate different lures and tackle and rod and reels to them to give to the less fortunate. I know a lot of local tackle shops do fundraisers, for example, like St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So always try to consider like fitting into your budget those like money donations for when you see them pop up. Support your local tackle shops, your small businesses by helping those fundraisers. And it's the spirit of Christmas. It's just a great time to give. You know, you're getting gifts yourself. Why not give gifts back? So giving back to the fishing community in any way you can. It could be a small act of kindness while you're out on the surf, because the fish are still biting on sand eels. We're having a nice extended surf season for stripers. And if you go out there and you see someone, you know, like I said in a previous open boat, like struggling to get on fish, one little act of kindness of like helping them out, you know, like helping them, hey, throw on this. I was getting them on this just before. Like small acts of kindness go such a long way. And it's such a good feeling helping out people, especially during the Christmas season. Now, hopefully this is a good incentive for, you know, good old Santa Claus to not give you coal this Christmas. You know, you're gonna get coal if you cut someone's line. So doing good acts of kindness is one step in the right direction to not getting coal. And I hope all you fishermen out there do not get coal this season. Maybe some lead sinkers for blackfish season. I know I have those, but they might break my stocking as a stocking stuffer. So hopefully you guys just wrap up the season strong and keep an eye out for those Christmas or just holiday acts of giving that your local tackle shops or your fishing clubs are doing. Take part in them if you can, and just Merry Christmas all along the coast. Let's get on some fish. It's blackfish season now, so boys, get ready. We're gonna be talking blackfish for maybe a month or two. I have trips coming up, so let's send it. I'll see you guys out there and catch you on next week's Open Boat.
And the last thing, of course, is the giveaway, which is ongoing. Not seeing a ton of photos. It's been a slow trickle. The funny thing is it's only been tog photos lately. I just want to remind you guys, it doesn't have to be a saltwater fish. It doesn't have to be a striper or a tog. It can be any species. It could be a largemouth bass, could be a tiny brook trout, could be something you caught in the Florida Keys. I don't care. But, you know, if you want some advice from me to give yourself a chance for the win, the big thing is to compose a nice photo. So, you know, show the angler, show the environment behind the angler, and, you know, try to tell a little bit of a story with the fish if you really want to have a high chance of winning. You know, incorporate some kind of family aspect to it. You know, I've been doing a lot of highlighting of, you know, grandfathers and fathers and sons, you know, all fishing together and things like that lately, and I'd love to see that kind of stuff. So I would encourage you to, you know, get the kids out or get your grandfather out there and, you know, go out there and take advantage. It's not that cold out. It's beautiful out. And fishing is very good in December in New England for those that actually go out and try to do it. But you guys know the drill. It's just got to show you holding your fish, and it's got to be emailed to me at danderson@thefisherman.com or texted to the number on the screen. And you just got to give me all the pertinent details, like the name of the angler, where it was caught, and stuff like that. We're going to give away a flat glide needlefish made by me and some NLBN paddle tails just to sweeten the pot a little bit. This one's going to wrap up on January 29th, so you still got, what, 6 weeks or so to catch that winning fish and shoot that winning shot. So take the pictures, send them in to me, and we'll see who wins. Moving over to the fishing reports now, I'm starting to hear more about some ponds sort of skimming over in the northern portion of our coverage area, mostly Maine, New Hampshire, that type of area. But I have heard of some ponds getting some ice in Western Mass as well. Now, I have not heard of anybody actually walking on the ice yet. So really all it's been is, you know, those guys, you guys all know, you got to know at least one ice fishing guy who just, that's the only thing he cares about. I've been seeing the twinkle in those guys' eyes lately. So people are getting cautiously excited. You know, has been, I guess, you know, unseasonably cold, at least compared to the last few years over the last couple weeks. So who knows, maybe we're going to have a colder winter this year. I wouldn't count on it, but definitely some hopeful ice fishermen looking at the lakes right now. Crossing the border now into Massachusetts. Let's start things off with Kevin Hoang from Surfland Bait and Tackle.
Sorry for the noise, it's raining cats and dogs outside, but on to the report. Guys are still catching trout, even though with a little bit of the ice built up from that cold weather. But the majority of the stuff's been melted because the warm weather right after and all the rain that we got. Some of the ice that started to freeze are melted now. And then on to pike. I got a picture from a mass angler with a nice pike he got on a glide bait, which will be included in the video for you guys to check out. The pike bite is pretty good because they like the colder water and they get a little bit more aggressive. And the glide bait, large profile, gliding, gets predatory fish going. So that's an awesome technique, whether it's pike, like I said before, and largemouth, smallmouth will still eat it. Chain pickerel will eat them. Glide baits are awesome. There's a lot to choose from, whether it's like a river to sea S waiver to a depths 250 to all the other custom garage built glide baits out there. There's a lot to choose from, and it's tough, but it's worth it to get into. And then on to saltwater and striped bass. It's over for us, most likely. So next time.
Now we'll jump down to Boston Harbor, check in with Danny Parma from Fish Bucket Sport Fishing.
Thanks, Dave. Dan checking in. Gonna keep it short and sweet. Boat came out of the water over the weekend, so our charter season officially wrapped up. I am gonna try and make some trips out on either the potty boats and possibly some ice fishing, so I'll keep you guys updated on that, and also any action that's going on in the harbor. So until next time, stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.
Heading inland, seeing a lot of good trout catches from several of the ponds in central and central eastern Massachusetts. And that includes Wachusett, where we've seen some really nice lake trout caught this week. Now, I haven't seen any giants, no double-digit fish like we saw 2 weeks ago. But a lot of fish in that 18 to 22, maybe even 23-inch range. Guys are getting it done with a variety of methods. Jerkbaits have been getting it done. Hair rigs have been getting it done, or hair jigs, I should say. And shiners, of course, are doing some damage. And of course, the most popular method for artificial throwers there, throwing a crocodile or a cast master and snap jigging it off the bottom. All those methods are working. And we're seeing good catches, which is what I expect to see in December out there. We're really lucky that the state decided to open that place up for the month of December, and we should all be taking advantage of that. Heading back to the coast, I guess there's been a few tog taken off some of the piers and jetties and whatnot in the Scituate area. I would have to guess there's not too many guys doing that, but I guess there's been a few tog in that area, so you could do that if you're itching for some saltwater action. Outside of that, though, really good freshwater activity in Plymouth, Marion, Rochester. We've been seeing a lot of bass coming out of those areas. You got so many cranberry bog ponds in there that hold big bass. They hold some big pickerel. And then you got your popular trout spots like Mary's Pond, Little Pond, Long Pond, and those are putting out good catches right now as well. Crossing over the canal onto the Cape, you could kind of say the same thing. We've been seeing good bass fishing from many of the smaller ponds on the Cape. I saw some guys did well with jerkbaits in a Shumet pond this week. Saw fish up to 4 pounds there. And various other spots around the Cape have been producing some largemouth. Haven't heard a lot of reports of smallmouth bass, but I guarantee you that they are being caught in places like Mashpee, Wakeby. And then the trout fishing has been excellent. A lot of live bait guys lately have been doing very well. But as we talked about last week, the good thing about stock trout is you can pick how you want to target them. They're very, very aggressive, and they're not very smart in the common sense category, so they're easy to fool. So you can do it with jerk baits, you can do it with tins, you can do it with spinners, you can really do it however you want. And these fish are aggressive, they're fun to catch, and they are abundant out on the Cape. Saltwater wise, the only thing I'm really hearing about is some mackerel on the east end. In fact, that bite sounds like it's been really good, and there's been some sizable max, some horse-sized max in the mix there. It's mostly right around Sandwich Marina, getting out toward the power plant, but a few guys have caught some fish off the fish pier as well. So really anywhere east of the fish pier seems to have the fish, and if you really want to put yourself in the crosshairs, fish around Sandwich Marina. And then heading out into Buzzards Bay, I don't have anyone fishing out there anymore. I haven't heard of anyone putting the boat in a couple weeks now. I would guess there's still tog out there, but No one's really fishing for them. I have a few guys doing some largemouth fishing in Southeast Mass. There's not a lot of ponds in Southeast Mass though, so you could almost look at a map and guess where they've been. One place I know that has been semi-productive though is New Bedford Reservoir, and that's what I have for you guys in Massachusetts this week.
The season of gift giving is here. Why not share the gift of fishing that lasts all year long? A subscription to the Fisherman magazine is just that. 12 glossy print issues and 26 weekly digital issues delivered to your inbox. Plus, weekly reports and full access to the website, all for just $29.95. And you're automatically eligible for the Dream Boat Challenge with your chance to win a new Steigercraft powered by Yamaha. Visit thefisherman.com/subscribe for that ultimate gift.
Crossing over into Rhode Island, let's start things off with an East Bay report from TJ Kopecky.
Thanks, Steve. Hey guys, fastest 3 minutes in the East Bay of fishing. And here we go. Real quick, I just want to talk about some of the stock ponds in the East Bay area and maybe a little bit outside the vicinity. You got the 8-Rod Farm Pond in Tiverton. You got Stafford Pond. And we also have Willow Pond. I was looking on the stock list for Rhode Island just to see when and what time these ponds were actually stocked. And on October 9th, and I believe it was November 1st, it says here that Willow Pond was stocked. And that's a nice little pond for you to get out there with your kids, and if there's no skim ice there, and you know, catch a lot of fish. I remember fishing there a few times when I was younger, and I used to live up in that area. It was a great little spot. It's a good area for fishing. There's some parking behind the old Schroeder's there, and it's a good little spot. Getting into some of these other ponds, like Stafford Pond, it's a little hard to get out to. It's a great pond to fish if you're on a boat or a kayak or even in a canoe. But there are trout in there, and this is the season for trout. You know, get your spinners going. Castmasters, they love that flash right now. That water temperature is right at that perfect like feeding for them. And you know, while these fish are still in there, and they're a great option for winter fishing. Other than that, there's a couple of ponds up in Attleboro, Fallsbrook, and Whiting Pond that have also been stocked if you're in Massachusetts. And then in the southeast of Massachusetts, you can check out Mary's Pond, which is in Rochester, which I've fished several times and had some good luck there with trout. Getting into the salt's kind of dead around here a little bit. There are still some striped bass way up in the Taunton River, up in the Sonnet Bay area. I believe they're just going to be holdovers now. And there are still fish up in the Seekonk River up near Pawtucket. So if you want to get out and try those areas for some saltwater striped bass, that's probably your best bet. So moving on. Here, I think we got a big storm coming, and while you're watching this video, it's probably blowing 60 miles an hour. But look for the weekend, this post-storm, to try fishing some night crawlers. I always find that after we get these warm, heavy rainstorms that, I don't know if you ever noticed in your driveway or something, all the worms emerge, but it happens around the ponds too, and all these worms get in, and that's what your bass, perch, and crappie all feed on in these ponds. So if you're going to get out fishing this weekend, try fishing some night crawlers. It could make or break your day. It's just a little tip. And you know, as the winter months are coming here in the East Bay, things will start to quiet down. Hopefully we won't see any ice. I'm not a big ice fisherman, but for those of you that like ice fishing, hopefully you'll get your ice. But that's all we got from the East Bay. So we'll catch you next week. Tight lines, guys.
Now, throughout Rhode Island, we still have some pretty good saltwater activity to talk about. There's some striped bass still kind of crisscrossing Narragansett Bay. I've kind of lost track of them a couple weeks ago when they were up in Providence and there was another contingent in the Bristol area. I haven't heard too many reports about exactly where, but there are still some fish up inside the bay. The water temps are still kind of stubbornly hanging around the 50-degree mark, which is a breaking point for so many species. So, maybe once it drops into those high 40s, those fish will disappear, or maybe they'll move in somewhere and hold over for the winter. But the reports say that there have been some striped bass up in there. Outside, out front, we've got tog. These fish are moving out. So fishing 50, 60 feet of water and moving deeper from there. The deeper you go, the better chance you'll have of mixing in with some sea bass or some codfish or maybe some last of the scup. But the bite has been pretty decent, and still seeing some decent sized fish as well. As you get out closer to Block Island, the mixing seems to get a little bit more likely. And fishing 70 feet of water or so is going to put you in the best position to make that happen. There are still mackerel around the North Rip as well. And for a little bit more on what's going on out there, let's check in now with Captain John Lee from JL Charters.
Hey, it's John Lee, Point Judith, Rhode Island. It's Wednesday, December 11th, and we have our first true storm of the season. Howling southerly right now. We got gusts to 55 knots. It's going to come hard west tomorrow, blow a gale tomorrow. I did fish yesterday. I went south of Block Island, anchored up on a pinnacle, picked away at some nice blackfish. We had some codfish. We had some black sea bass. It was kind of a sloppy day. We had a southerly groundswell, northeast chop. The boat was kind of on anchor, shifting, but we managed to have a good day, caught some fish, had some fun. The day before that, I went out mackerel fishing on a commercial rod and reel trip. We caught a couple of 100 pounds of mackerel on mackerel rigs. And again, I had a blast doing that. There's a lot of life around tight to Block Island. A lot of seals, a lot of seabirds, and a lot of mackerel. So those mackerel, I don't know what this storm's going to do. Saturday looks good, light winds. We'll see how stirred up it is from today and tomorrow's blow. But if the water looks good, I'm going to go out. I might go mackerel fishing. If I have bodies, I'll run south the block, anchor up again, send down some crabs, see what happens. Anyway, hope all is well with everyone. Take care. Talk to you next time.
Now, we also have good freshwater fishing going on in Rhode Island. We're still benefiting from those Veterans Day stockings, and if you go to the DEM website, you can find where those most recent stockings happened, and if you go there, a very good chance you're going to do well fishing for trout. We're also seeing some good largemouth bass fishing up inside, up in many of the ponds throughout Rhode Island. In fact, I was talking to Jeff Sullivan the other day, and he put up a good one, a good nighttime fish on a big swim bait the other night. And for a little bit more on that and some of the other things that he might be doing, here's Jeff Sullivan himself.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Dave? So the fishing update this week has been a lot of trout fishing. I've just been going crazy trout fishing, and it's been an absolute slugfest out there. I've been doing 8 to 10 hour days. It's been an absolute boxing match. I'm getting a lot of nice rainbows, a lot of brook trout, a lot of golden trout. I've been going here, there, everywhere pretty much just to see what the pros and cons are to different places, what the bite's like in different places this time of year. And it's pretty much all been successful. December's been giving us, some mild weather here. So if it keeps giving us mild weather, I'm going to keep taking it, Dave. I just got to say, it's been pretty lights out. I mean, we're getting them on spinners, spoons, shads, Ned rigs, you pretty much name it. It's been really, really well. With these December fronts coming through, like today's 60 degrees and raining, I'm going to go today and just to see what it's like with cold temperatures opposed to this warm front coming through. So, it's all trial and error. It's all trial and error. It's, you just got to go out there and put the time in, put the work in, and it could be a numbers day or it could be quality day, or it could be both, But yeah, Dave, trout fishing's been excellent. I'm addicted right now, so I've kind of been putting my white perch on hold. I usually start really fishing for them after the new year anyway. A lot of guys been asking me about it. Yeah, January is the month I usually target them, so and I'll check in on them. At the largemouth side of things, I kind of been just kind of letting them be, leave them alone for a little while, probably till the end of February, early March, and I'll get into pre-spawn. It was a blessing to have them until, first week of December. I'll tell you, they got real picky there, and it was very hard to fish some of the conditions I was getting them in. But hey, can't complain, Dave. December fishing's been great. But yeah, same time next week, guys. I'm going out there today. I'm going to see if I can go get them, and maybe I'll see you out there later.
Now heading out along the South County beaches, the whatever striped bass might still be going by at this point are reduced to a tiny little trickle. I haven't heard anything in a week, so actually more than a week. So I'm pretty much declaring that over and done with. Apparently there's still a little bit of bait around, so hey, if a few stripers move through, you might have a shot, but I think that's a done deal. We do have some striped bass holding over in some of the salt ponds, and that bite can be very good if you get on the fish. Your best bet is to get in there with a kayak, with a fish finder, and do some paddling around and look for a school rather than prospecting so much with a bait, because a lot of times these fish it's a smaller school, it's concentrated on one spot, so you're better off finding the fish and then fishing for them, in my opinion. And that's what I got for you guys in Rhode Island this week. Crossing over into Connecticut, really don't have anyone fishing out in the Sound right now. I mean, I think if you went out, fish some of the deeper water, you might be able to find some sea bass, but I have not heard of anybody doing that. Most of the guys are either fishing for holdover striped bass or they're doing some freshwater fishing in various spots, so we'll talk more about that. Connecticut has a lot of holdover fisheries. You've got the Thames River, you've got the Connecticut River, you've got the Housatonic River, and even some littler spots in between that not too many people talk about. The Thames is a shadow of what it once was. Back in the 2000s, that place was unbelievable. There were huge numbers of fish in there, and it just doesn't happen anymore. Guys that live in the area tell me that you can still get some fish in the wintertime, but that bite has really tapered off. So unless you live in that area specifically, that might be a place you might not want to spend too much time. The Connecticut River, I would liken the striped bass fishing, or the holdover striped bass fishing in the Connecticut River to freshwater fishing. You're going to go up in some of these coves, you're going to get up into some of the tributaries, you're going to be catching pickerel, you're going to be catching largemouth bass, you're going to be maybe catching some pike, you're going to find big schools of panfish like perch and white perch, yellow perch, crappie, and then you might land on a big school of striped bass. Now, if you remember a couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, there was a really nice striper taken through the ice in Weathersfield Cove. That fish was in the 30-pound class, so that kind of shows you what's possible. But I think by and large, you're mostly fishing for schoolies and maybe touching 30 inches at times. But it's a cool fishery because it's not overused or overutilized like some of the more popular ones, because they're not so easily found. So that's something that you guys can do that's exciting and rewarding. And then of course the Housatonic is probably the best known holdover striped bass fishery in the world at this point, and the crowds bear it out. A lot of fish to be caught there though, and we'll talk a little bit more about that with Max. But the other things that have been going on up in interior Connecticut is the trout fishing's been very good. The Salmon River's been good. The Farmington is coming back to life. And for a little bit more on that, let's check in now with Derrick Kirkpatrick from Connecticut Fish Guides.
Hi Dave, coming to you from the Farmington today. As you can see, it's really overcast. We got some precipitation heading our way in the future forecast here. I think we're supposed to get over an inch of rain, maybe even up to 2 inches. That will be good. That'll help fill up the reservoirs. The reservoirs, Colebrook, been pretty low. So definitely not a bad thing that we're getting rain. I don't suspect that they're just gonna let, Colebrook open up and blow out the Farmington. However, what you wanna keep your eye on is the Still River. That's a freestone. So all this rain coming in, we could see that pump up to 1,300 CFS, in which case you can still fish the Farmington. You have to be extremely careful. You're not really going to wade much. Fish are going to be really close to the banks. But it may only pump to 600 or 500. It should definitely trigger some fish into eating. I would definitely be fishing your junk flies like mops and squirms, and some jig patterns like I have on here. This is just an olive jig pattern. I have this on a Euro setup here. And then along with that, we have immature Hendrickson nymphs that are still kind of active through December, but given the bump and flow that we're gonna have, that's probably not gonna be your best bet. So stick to your larger bugs for more opportunistic fish. And also you're gonna wanna fish in protected slower water. The water temps are dropping. These post-spawn fish, they don't want to exert a lot of energy. So they're gonna find these nice comfortable spots where there's still a lot of food, but where they can kind of just chill for the winter. And so more delicate water types ideally is what you're gonna be looking for. Back to you, Dave.
Now we'll head into the Connecticut River and we'll check in with Rowan Lytle.
Hello everybody from soggy and breezy central Connecticut now. Pretty major weather shift underway, and that is certainly going to play into how the fishing on the Connecticut River goes this weekend. Now, getting a lot of rain throughout New England, so I anticipate the Connecticut River getting, at least a little higher. Now, it's been about as low as I've seen it in December, so it's currently not very high. The rain will bring it up. It probably won't bring it up into flood stage. It might, but since we haven't been getting tons and tons of rain, there's a lot of debris in all the tributaries, from twigs and leaf litter and things like that, to just general muck that has kind of built up over the last few months, and this rain will just flush that into the Connecticut River. So I anticipate the river itself and most of its tributaries being very muddy and debris filled, and that'll mean the fishing isn't very good. Another impactor is that this rain is kind of bringing with it a cold front, so the temperature is going to drop through the weekend. So with a major barometric pressure and temperature shift and high and muddy waters, I don't expect good fishing on the Connecticut River. If you do get out and fish, focus on the backwaters and places that are out of the current and less likely to have a lot of debris floating through, and you are more likely to have some success in those places. But generally, I would say not going to be the best weekend to get out there. But if you do, good luck.
Now we'll get down toward the mouth and we'll check in with Captain Mike Roy from Real Cast Charters.
Hey everybody, for this week's fishing report, I've really been focused on cleaning all my gear up. So if you look behind me, I have all my G Loomis rods. I've taken all the reels off of the rods, clean them with soap and water. I'll spray a little WD-40 on the reels and put all these away for winter storage. And next up is I have to tackle my lures over here. They'll all get cleaned up and replace hooks on them. As far as fishing is concerned, right now the striped bass are moving into their winter holding locations. So this would be a good time to fish small soft plastic baits with small jig heads, like a 1/2 ounce jig head, and a 5-inch finesse fish would be the lure of choice right now. That's all I have for you. Good luck.
Heading west from there, we'll stop in Westbrook and we'll check in with Matt Stone from Black Hall Outfitters.
What's up everyone, Matt here from Black Hall Outfitters in Westbrook with this week's fishing report. Definitely into, kind of winter time. So you're looking at saltwater. Your options are pretty limited to probably schoolies and like tidal creeks and things like that. Any holdover fisheries that you typically target, you can ask around. There's a lot of known ones. There's also a lot of unknown ones. So you're throwing small, soft plastics usually, or like a Daiwa SP minnow, Yozuri mag minnow, something like that that's small. I usually go with like a 5-inch fluke this time of year. You can also slow roll a paddle tail, like a gravity or an NLBN or a tsunami, something like that. Low and slow typically is what you want to do this time of year, and you might only be going for 5 or 6 bites, if you're in a good spot. So winter time, I say it every year, it is 90% of the fish are typically in 10% of the water. So keep working. If you know there are fish around, try to image them on your side imaging. If it's shallow, you're probably not going to mark them on sonar, so keep an eye on that side imaging, or just cast till your arms fall off. Freshwater, I went out yesterday for trout and salmon. No luck for me, but I know there were guys there catching. A couple different spots you can do that for the salmon in the state, and then there's a ton of trout spots, obviously. I like to throw inline spinners. If you want to hop in the kayak, you can definitely troll some spinners. There's some small divers, things like that. And then cold water, largemouth bass fishing. Same deal, slow. A lot of times this time of year you can throw like a Ned rig or a jerkbait with long pauses, or just really slow hop a football jig, something like that. Enjoy it, and happy holidays to everybody.
And then heading into the Western Sound, you may have the occasional guy that's still got a boat in that's hitting the wrecks for sea bass, or jigging out by 28C or 11B for some late running striped bass activity. But most of the guys now are fishing up in the Housatonic River, or they're trout fishing in the Mill River or the Norwalk River, or going for salmon up in the Naugatuck. But the big talk right now is inside the Huzy. The bite's been good. There's a lot of fish moving up right now, and it's still at that point where the fish are spread throughout the river, so you can pretty much fish wherever you want. Nighttime has been the better time for bigger fish, and you're probably going to get some better numbers during the day. For a little bit more on that, let's check in now with Max Finch from Fisherman's World.
Hey everyone, Max here from Fisherman's World with another local fishing report. This past week, we've seen some really good striped bass take in the Housatonic. It seems like they're a little spread out from the mouth and all the way upriver. Guys are doing well at night, throwing SP still, the floating and sinking. Places like a Sullivan's Island and Sunnyside School, and then of course your favorite soft plastic on the lead head. Down in the salt, we've heard of some rumors, some herring being caught. I haven't seen confirmed pictures or anything, but we are selling sabiki rigs, so it is a sign that some people must be getting them. That's a fantastic bait this time of year for your striped bass. There's still our bass on our beaches, in our back bays, in our estuaries. Actually, this past week, opening the shop, we've seen birds working in the harbor, in the East Channel, and then in our back bay ponds, like the Mill Pond and stuff, there's still peanut bunker flooding out. So it's still fishing to be had and still really good. Guys fishing from shore when their boats are wrapped this time of year, you could definitely check out places like Norwalk Harbor, Sherwood Island, and then of course the Housatonic. The Housatonic should only get better. It's harder to go on these nights, but the bigger fish do feed at night, and you increase your odds of a fish over slot, or like one of those winter 30-pounders of fishing at night, throwing SPs or soft plastics. On the boats, there's still guys doing well on sea bass. Middle ground and the wrecks out the islands are really good. I've seen some really big knothead sea bass when the wind's not blowing and guys can get out. Haven't heard of too many blues. To the Western Sound, there are bass still near the Throgs and Hempstead and the Oyster Bays over there. Guys are working shallower this time of year. The bass are up and tight, feeding on smaller bait like silver sides and peanut bunker. Thanks and good luck.
Hey, if anyone out there wants to escape the cold this winter, our video producer Tim C. Smith has a condo on Pine Island in southwest Florida. Now available for the season, it's a waterfront property with a pool and a boat slip for $3,000 a month. To get all the details, visit snooksnook.com. And that's what I have for you guys in the reports this week. Hopefully it's going to inspire you to get out there. I know it's cold, I know it's December, I know you got holiday shopping to do, but the fishing's still very good, and I would encourage you to get out there and give it a try. If you're not a subscriber to The Fisherman, I highly recommend you head over to our website. That's thefisherman.com. You get a full taste of what we offer, covering all the fishing from Delaware up to Maine, all the conservation issues, all the travel, and it doesn't matter what kind of fishing you like to do, whether you're a surf fisherman, whether you're heading offshore, whether you're in the kayak, whether you're strictly freshwater, we cover it all. It's $29.95 for the year. You're going to get 12 paper magazines sent to your house. You get 26 digital editions sent to your email, and you're going to get digital access to all of our back issues and digital access to our other 2 editions. It's the best $30 you can spend in fishing. There's no doubt about that. But if you head to the website and you're still not interested, at the very least, give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that little bell thing right there so you get a notification every time we post something new. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.